What's going on, guys? We've made a lot of progress on the single cab, as you can see. Haven't recorded much in the past couple days because we've been extremely busy trying to get ready for our meet that we're having at the shop. Kind of a last minute thing to kind of just, it's more or less like an open house, just for the local people to come by and check everything out. Not as much of a truck show as it is just to hang out. So we've been trying to get the single cab ready to be able to push it outside where everybody can see it, potentially drive it if we get our brakes back in time and we get all that on and the brakes bled, we should be able to drive it, but not sure on that one. We do have the truck. I would say it's about 70% finished. It looks pretty done, but there's still a lot to do. So in the front end here, we've got our stock steering components on, just to set the axle in place and to be able to turn the wheel and push this out of here without the tires trying to go everywhere. So we've got all the black steering just hung on there. All the other stuff is still at chrome plating, waiting on that. Our track bar is at powder coat, and we're kind of going through all the problems of building a custom air ride truck. So checking all our clearances in the back. So if you look, the stock track bar right there is really close to this airbag mount. So I don't think we're gonna be able to use our fabricated track bar. Whenever we lower the truck, it is very, very close. And whenever we're moving it up and down, it's very close. So I think we're gonna have to either paint or powder a stock track bar. No big deal. One thing I do wanna point out though, is JTX killed it on my wheels. So let's go over the wheel and tire setup real quick. It's a 2616 non-concave wheel. I'm not a big fan of concaves, to be honest. I just don't really see the point. It's kind of cool. I kind of like them, but not really enough to buy them. But, so we had them put our name in the lip. So it says FitzgeraldPerformance on the lip. We got white floaters from them with our logo in it. Oh, they're froze. They're freshly powdered. Or maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Anyways, once they drive down the road, that powder will wear off the back and they'll kind of spin a little bit better. But everything's fresh and new, and they kind of got to get a little miles on them before they work right. But wheels turned out great. This is a 2616 Empire from JTX, wrapped in a 35 1550 26 Venom. Now the truck does have spacers on it, if you're wondering why it's so wide. I love wheel spacers, don't know why. Weird thing, but I like them. The 4-link turned out great, and we were worried about some clearance issues. I'm not gonna lie. So the shocks ended up clearing very well. The only time we have any problems with the shocks clearing is when we go all the way down, when we slam it, which we won't do much. Yes, we will play with it at shows, but I've got the sway bar disconnected right now so that we can lean it and stuff like that, check clearances. But so far everything's good. Just waiting on some more parts back from paint and powder. We're supposed to have another load of paint back tomorrow. You'll probably see it in this video, because this won't hardly be long enough for a YouTube video, so we're gonna have to film more than this. But I'm gonna try and drop the video Saturday and or Friday night. We are having that show, so it's gonna be a little bit hectic. But wheels, they turned out great. Tickled with them. Everything in the rear end looks great. Keep in mind all these bolts are loose because we're literally just getting it together to push it outside for our show, and then we're gonna push it back in here and finish it. But another thing I wanted to point out, check out our custom air tank bracket. So we made it where it mounts where the spare tire used to be, and it's tucked up in there. So we've got 2 airflow 28-inch billet tanks, and then we've got dual Viair compressors, however you say that. It's all just kind of wired up laying here right now because obviously the bracket has to be powder coated. So this was kind of just a test fit. So we hung it up in the frame and it fits perfect. We are tickled with it. It's far from the exhaust. We might trim it just a little more, but so far looks great, functions great, and we're super tickled with it. So on the compressor and the tank setup, I didn't want you to be able to tell the truck was bagged until you got beside it and or heard it. So you cannot see the tanks from right here. You have to lay under the truck almost to see the tanks, which is one of my favorite parts because I think that's super clean. From behind, you won't ever see it. But love how it's turning out so far. Like I said, we don't have the brakes on. I did get the rotors turned, like I had mentioned in previous videos. Everybody was having a fit about that on TikTok. But she's coming together. Let's play with the air ride some. So, to anyone that hasn't seen the interior, we'll go ahead and open her up. Turn our starlight on. I know everybody loves that. Yeah, that's pretty. But let's go play with the bags. So the compressors are wired to key on. So each bag will maintain its current air pressure while the truck is off. So if the truck's been sitting for a while, these tanks will naturally lose air, and it'll probably have none in the tanks, but the bags will still hold. We've been testing it, making sure it didn't leak down. You know, we took the air off of it one night and made sure that it wasn't gonna go everywhere. But the tank kind of empties itself, and so when we first started playing with this, we only had one compressor hooked up, and it was not enough to keep up with the bags if we wanted to mess with it pretty often. But now we've got them both hooked up, and let's see. So if we turn the key on, our compressors are going to kick on. You can hear them. They're decently loud. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. It's air compressors. They're going to be loud. But decently loud, not too annoying. Once it fills up, you know, you've got 200 PSI of air to play with. And if your bags are already full, mostly, I mean, you're not going to use much air playing with it unless you air it all the way out and then go back up. But let's let her build up and then we'll play with her. Also, another note, this front end is looking amazing. I am tickled with how it's turning out, and we're gonna put the bumper on it tomorrow. So she'll have a good look to her. Let's shut this hood. Sorry guys, I'm trying to multitask on this video. So hood's not shut obviously, but it's just pulled down. She's got a good look to her. She's got a really good stance. It does have 2-inch spacers on it right now, and we are putting 3s on it. I have 3s here now. I was too impatient to wait on the 3s to put the wheels on, so what we did is we just slapped my 2s on just to get it ready for the weekend, and right after we got them on, my 3s showed up in the mail. But that's just a normal day. Look at that screen. Also, check out the full screen in the rearview mirror. Thought that was really cool for a single cab, because all of my loaded bit-gen trucks have never had one of those. I don't think they started doing it until like 21, and my last one, they just didn't order it with it. But let's turn these rear lights on and check them out. So we were worried with visibility at night. Taillights are plenty bright enough. Even during the day, you can see these. So these are gonna be perfect. As I said, we painted over the lenses, so it makes this kind of look dull, but I really like the look that painted lens gives it. We've got our bumpers all done. The LEDs look great. Painted all the way in there. looking good. So we got to put our park sensors in. We did get our receiver hitch back on in that last video, as everybody saw. But maybe we have enough air to go play with it now. Let's see what we got. Sorry, I'm walking around so much. I can't help it. I get antsy. Let's turn this light on. So, let's check out our little remote control. So, I don't know if you can see it or not. It says English. Yes. System not calibrated. We know we're not quite ready to calibrate it. So, your up and down and everything is on this controller for the front and the rear. So, let's push the front right bag up. There the truck went. Now, let's push the front left bag up. She moves fast, so it has 127 psi. It's gonna want to regulate it about 200. So as soon as it hits about 180, 200, it'll shut off. But we'll put some more air in the back too and kind of air it out. But that's that. Got to make them even. Alright, let's go see what we got. Like I said, haven't mounted that yet. Not quite ready to mount it. Interior is still kind of apart. But she gets big. Go ahead and shut this door. She gets big. So that right there should be about 8 inches of lift. It will go up to 10. That's 8. We're gonna sit a little bit lower than that for driving height. I believe so. I might adjust it to that height. I really like how that sits. It's a little bit too tall for the wheels and tires, but I like it. But we gotta get the manifold calibrated, gotta get our height sensors on, and our compressor tank powder coated, and then we're ready to go. We're just trying to get this, like I said, ready for this weekend. But let's get back to work. As you can see, we've made some great progress on the single cab. Kind of want to take a minute to talk to y'all about it. I don't have much footage of us working on it because a lot of the stuff I was doing is just stuff you don't really need to film, just time-consuming stuff like wiring and putting the fender wells in. But let's take a look at what's going on with the truck. So excuse the mess, but it is a little dirty in here. We had an event this weekend and had to rush to try and even get this thing where it would move so that we could have it outside for the event. And we did that also. I'm sure I'll drop some footage somewhere in this video of this weekend and or a couple of the edits we got. But let's take a look at the truck. As you can tell, the air ride lift is done. So the front suspension is kind of in a temporary setup, but got the rock lights wired to this little remote. Let's turn them on. There we go. So the white fender wells. I don't know if anyone knew I was doing that. Not sure if I talked about it. Can't remember. But they turned out great. The paint looks like glass. They look great. I'm tickled with them. Now they were awful to put in. I pretty much wrapped the whole front end with a blanket and then squeezed them in there and had to be careful to not bend and crack the paint. But they look perfect. They turned out great. We even painted the rock lights white and used stainless hardware in the fender, for the fender bolts right here. But turned out great. Got our air tank set up, hanging out down there, just kind of temporarily hooked up. Obviously the wiring isn't gonna look like that, but we barely got the bracket monked up in time for this weekend, and that's what it looks like. It fits great. We are tickled with the bracket. Not gonna change a thing on it. The fitment's really good on the bracket, so all we got to do is pull it back out and have it powder coated. Then we're good to go. But truck has made some great progress. Let's go over a couple of things that have happened. First off, all this black steering in the front, obviously not staying. More of a temporary thing just to get it moving outside. Our diff covers and our crossover steering kit are, I believe, done being chrome plated, so I've got to go pick those up. Still got to fix the front park sensors. We did get our new OEM fog lights in. They look great. White tow hooks. Everything's paint match white. You can tell how dark that tin actually is now, but yeah. Super happy with how the truck's turning out. That Striker 4-link looks great under the truck, especially with all the lights on it now. The amp research steps, I did not think that I was going to be able to do a set, but after doing some research, I found out that you can cut them down and you can put them on the single cab trucks. So I said, you know what, let's order it, let's try it. So I ordered it, did my research, found the measurements, cut them down. They are mounted now, painted. So the end caps and the retractable arms are painted, and the step itself is powdered. And then we've got a mat being made by Next Level Mats that will have our logo. It's like a seafoam material, like a boat deck, that will go right here. That way when you step on it, it does not chip it. But we've got to finish hooking them up. We barely got them on. I mean, the meet was at 7 o'clock here, and we got all that stuff on about 4:35, so we had to shut the shop down, get everything ready for the meet. But we barely got the truck done where it'll move. Got the rear drive shaft in it, and she looks great. I'm tickled. Now, we're still gonna get it debadged. This Cummins badge is going. I've heard a lot of people ask about that, and this Ram badge is going. I'm not into badges on the body. Had a lot of people asking this weekend, where's the tailgate? The tailgate is being painted and shaved finally. Finally got it off and got it to paint. It could not make it in time, sadly. But she still looks good without it. We still got to take the bed rail caps off, have them painted. But we're starting to run out of time, so we better get on that. But let's take a look at her. So she still has never been drove. I literally pulled it out of the building. Let's look at these brakes. Look at that brake setup. I'm tickled with how the powdered rotors and powdered caliper brackets and the whole powdered brake setup turned out. But she's looking good. Let's check out the interior real quick. So we still got to mount our controller, but that is the air ride controller. We have been playing with it a lot. The air ride kit is done, but we still have to mount our height sensors. Got our starlight going. She turned out good though. Let's turn all our running lights on. I'm not gonna turn the key on because compressors will kick on and they're loud. Take a look at that though. She's a beauty. Now, I've had a lot of mixed feelings on the wheels. Personally, I love them. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as I like it. But let me know your thoughts on the wheels. I love it. I think it's different. You know, everyone builds a white color match truck, but they don't do the white fender wells, the axles, all the accents, the matching steps, every piece of trim, and the white faced wheels. So I think that's kind of one thing that sets this build apart. Also, the fact that it's a Fitch-in single cab long bed. No one's seriously built one of those yet. There's a couple I've seen with leveling kits or turbo kits and stuff like that, but I have never seen a lifted one yet, and or one to this extent. Nothing near this. But that signature metal fab sway bar kit hanging out here. We had the sway bar disconnected so that I could lean the truck. Probably one of my favorite, you know, I guess you call it positions to put the truck in to take pictures. I love having it leaned. I think it's cool. But yep, she's turning out good. Turning out good, man. So the fender wells were awful, by the way. If you're thinking about doing it, you better be really dedicated to it, because it's not a fun process. But just look how clean it turned out. You know, the white painted rock lights, all stainless hardware. I mean, they're just so clean. But we may take this thing to Orange Beach Invasion. Not sure. Probably won't. I don't think we're gonna have time because we've got other customer builds to finish up now that this thing is more in the finished stage. So thank y'all for watching the videos. Stay tuned. We are gonna make another video of this probably next week, just us finishing up the little stuff. But like I said, we got quite a bit done. The front bumper's on, all the stuff is ready. We got to figure out some stuff with the fog lights, and then we got the steps, the wheels finally made it on the build, and so we got the air tank stuff done too, and obviously the fender wells. Fender wells is one of my favorite things about the truck. I don't know why. Now, given you drive it down the road, you're gonna chip them. This truck's not gonna get drove much. I would be surprised if it saw 1,000 miles in the next 6 months. But that's kind of the purpose of the show truck. So thank y'all for watching. We're gonna try and put out some more content.